Hey there, my name's Joe Keyport, and you're listening to the Ear Coffee Podcast. For this week's episode, I talked to C and Ben from the band Critterthing. A few months ago, the band put out their debut album, Save Room, an album about trans joy, perseverance, and remembrance, all filtered through the aesthetic of a PS2 survival horror game. It's a great time to chat with C and Ben from the band. It's Critterthing, and they're right here on the Ear Coffee Podcast. Well, how's it going?
Good, we're doing good. Hanging out on a Monday, you know. It's good vibes today. It's nice weather out still, which is crazy, but yeah, we're doing good. How are you doing, C?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Awesome. I'm glad you can join me on this Monday. It is beautiful. I unfortunately haven't stepped outside really at all today, but I hopefully can get a little time in once we're done chatting.
Sure.
One of the things I love to ask bands, but kind of before we start jumping into it, which is, how do you describe your band to people when they ask? I always think it's funny that that awkward conversation you have with like a family member or a coworker who doesn't really get it. They're just like, "Oh, cool, you're in a band. What's your band?
What's your genre?"
Yeah,
and it's funny because it's such a simple question, but it's so hard to answer. And I think everybody says that about their own band. It's really easy to answer for other people's, but like your own project is like tough to come up with that answer for. Some of the words we throw around are like DIY, like sometimes we're a little bit punk, but not really. We'd have some pop elements in there. I don't know, how would you describe it?
When we started, I would say we used to be like rock, indie is how I put it, and then it became like pop, power pop, like jangle pop, and now it's kind of moved back to like emo punk. It's fluctuated. But
yeah.
When people ask, I don't want to have a conversation with them because typically the people who ask are asking in a corporate setting. And I just want to say like, yo, rock, guitar music, I guess.
Yeah, give them the easily digestible words.
Yeah, we're a bit like the Smiths or whatever.
Yeah, we're a little indie. We're a little, yeah. I think that's what did that answer your question?
Yeah. It's always one of those. It's always a funny question because it's either a corporate setting or it's people who you start describing it and you just watch them kind of check out because it's a little more than they actually care. And it's just a funny way. I always enjoy hearing how other people try to describe their own bands. But getting into it, how did Critterthing form? Where did y'all start? I see y'all have been releasing music at least since 2022.
Yeah, that's about right. You want to take the origin story?
Sure. Yeah, it's a little complicated because we come from different places, but Ben and I were a band, and I was also in a different band with some of my friends from college, and that became a metal band, and then the metal band broke up and became a cover band, and then the cover band broke up, but me, the guitar player and the drummer, left that cover band and became Critterthing, and I was still homies with Ben, and Ben was producing our first EP, which was Goodnight Green Eyes. And then eventually we asked Ben to join the band because Mid Morning, the other band we were in, fell apart.
I joined the band on keys specifically because Claire started playing the bass, and then we had a guitar player. And then after a little while, we shook it up a little bit. Guitar player left. We got another guitar player, our good friend Misha. Is awesome, and then so I hopped to the bass, and now Claire's on guitar. So she started on bass, now plays guitar. I started on keys, now play bass, and we have a different guitar player. And Grady's still holding it down on the drums.
Yep. Thank you. You explained it way better than I could have.
I made it more confusing, but yeah, that's our current lineup: 2 guitars, bass, drums. Pretty standard.
Oh yeah.
Standard arrangement. We do our own productions ourselves and stuff too. So on recordings, we'll add some keys and synths and layers and stuff here and there. But that's our basic lineup and kind of how we got there.
Well, hell yeah. So then when did Critterthing kind of form? Was it, because I saw that first EP came out late 2022. Were y'all kind of active before then, or or still kind of trying to figure out what the band was at that point?
Active in songwriting and stuff like that. We really started being active playing shows probably in 2023.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, is kind of when I would say we started being active. Before, it was just kind of some friends getting together, jamming, writing songs, doing stuff like that, hanging out. Not that the idea wasn't there to have more than that, but yeah, I'd say 2023 is kind of when it really formed and took off a little bit, and we're still there now, still on that grind. So, you know, trying to always put out new music and play shows frequently and stuff like that, and kind of get be active in our scene.
Yeah, we played like some St. Paul venues. Like we played the Catalyst Music Venue, the Treasury. We played the Rock Music Lounge, the Cadence Records, and then we kind of eventually like seeped our way into the Minneapolis scene, and it's been dope.
Yeah. Well, just to go a little bit back, kind of get some history on both of y'all as, you know, your own musicians. Had you both been playing kind of growing up? And I mean, it sounded like you'd been in bands, like you just said, before Critterthing, or kind of talked about your individual music histories a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I play a bunch of instruments and have for a long time. It's just kind of always been a part of my life. Funny enough, not really from a super musical family. Not to say that they didn't appreciate music and don't appreciate music, but like my parents aren't musicians or whatnot. But that being said, they're like very supportive, like so supportive. You know what I mean? Most parents like roll their eyes when their kid like gets a drum set, and my parents were like, "No, play louder," and I was like, "Got you," you know. But no, so they were really supportive from a long time, which I know isn't the case for everybody. So I really appreciate that ability. So yeah, I've been playing for a long time, and now that I'm on bass, that's kind of my home turf. It's very comfortable, allows me to go crazy for shows and stuff like that, which I really enjoy, and other people really enjoy too. So that like just gives me the most space to play. But I've played a little bit of everything for a long time. But yeah, bass is really kind of, I've found that to be feels like home to me. And Claire's been playing, we've all been playing together for a long time too, which is really nice. Specifically me, Claire, and Grady, the three of us have been playing for 3, 4, 5 years now or something like that.
You and I have been playing since 2019.
Yeah, so since then, so a long time. We got that telekinesis thing all down pat. And I don't know, how long have you been playing instruments?
I mean, I was tinkering around with like guitars and pedals and like drums when I was like a teenager, but I think I kind of started seriously like learning like your major and minor chords and stuff, and I learned how to like write songs and write bass lines, and I started just like practicing like the writing and the composing everything all together. Like I never really specialized in one until I specialized in the bass later on when I joined All Chaser. But my favorite thing in the world is like composing and organizing like all the instruments of a rock band. So, which means the most natural thing for me is rhythm guitar, because that's what I write most of the songs on. And that's, I guess, my current favorite for Critterthing is playing rhythm guitar, because you really don't. And I love singing. Singing is my favorite. Eventually, I think I'll put the guitar down and just be a singer, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's easiest. Claire means that she kind of comes with the most complete ideas. And so usually those ideas stem from a rhythm guitar and a vocal point. So it kind of is the easiest to bring those ideas fully to the table when you play the instrument, that they sound most full on from the get-go. So yeah, I think that's what she means there. And we're working on, maybe someday we'll go back to the single guitar. I'm a big fan of one guitar bands, so we'll get back there at some point.
Yeah. Well, in kind of going from there, then Claire talked about how you kind of the most complete ideas from a rhythm guitar and a vocal. Are you the one kind of spearheading a lot of the songwriting, then kind of bringing all these ideas that you're kind of putting together and then fleshing out from there, or how's the writing process kind of go from there?
Yeah, up to this point, that's where most of them come from. Is usually Claire has some lyrics and a riff, or a pretty complete song idea, brings it to the table, and then we're all able to like write our own parts to that. But she like starts off with like a full framework, which is super helpful. But moving forward, looking for our like next release, probably sometime next year, we'll have a bigger more full album out, we're all pitching in more on the songwriting idea. Not that we weren't already, because like I said, we all write our own parts. Nobody's like going like, okay, here's the drum part to play. Here you go, play it.
Yeah.
Grady would be totally like good at that. Like he would get, I think we would all be good at that too. But I find it more fun and compelling when you bring the one idea to the table and everybody else kind of writes their own part. So that's kind of where we're at now, is generally Claire brings the main idea and we write from there. But going forward, we've got a few maybe new in the works songs that Michelle, our guitarist, other guitarist, has written. Grady's written songs too for his own project, so maybe he'll bring some ideas. I got a idea or two on the table that we might work from there. So going forward, we've always been collaborative, but we're kind of just spreading our wings into more collaborativity. I made that word up.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well, let's then start kind of digging into the debut, which is Save Room. And in kind of the email pitch you had sent to us, you described the album as an album being about trans joy, perseverance, and remembrance. So kind of talk to me about that and how it shaped writing this record.
Yeah, so, well, the start of 25 was kind of hard on a lot of us. Yeah, it was rough. I wanted to write something that really spoke to like trans people, like directly, because a lot of the old stuff, it had themes of trans stuff, but it was a bit a bit vague and vapid. But like I wanted this one to be like in your face, and I was just like thinking, what is more in your face than like horror, So I kind of and I've been playing all sorts of horror games the last like 3 or 4 years, and I got obsessed with the idea of the save room and like writing the perfect like save room theme that just like comforts you when you're like out of health and out of ammo and you got to find some like little closet to duck in. And
for the uninitiated, the idea of a save room is in like a horror game when you got all these like threats and stuff coming at you. Eventually you hit this one little room, which usually has like a cozy atmosphere. They got like lighter music playing, and that's usually where you can save your game. So that's kind of the concept. Not the theme as much, but like kind of the concept of the whole thing was like that little cozy room where you're safe for a second, but once you cross that threshold, you don't know what you're in for, whether it's a bigger boss or more level or whatnot. So that's kind of what the theme of save room, that's what save room means. It's that little cozy spot where they got nice soft lighting and music playing, and you can chill out for a second before you get back on the grind.
Yeah, and that's kind of like how I formatted the album as well. You start off in the save room, and then you go out and you fight several like different threats or bosses or whatever, and I kind of wrote each song around being like about a different threat, like say hate crimes or class inequality or like medical how do you call it, medical shenanigans.
Yeah issues that different people have to deal with and whatnot too. But yeah, we kind of enveloped that in wrapped it up in like kind of the video game metaphor, if you will, of save rooms and boss fights and stuff like that too. And we also used it to kind of inspire the artwork and stuff like that, which is really, really lovingly done by Kiwi. Our good friend Kiwi does pretty much all of our art at this point. We're really happy with how she did it. She actually designed the images for like the on the cassette and for the record and stuff like that are all like kind of PS1 era graphics, and it's not just obviously the artwork is a 2D image, but how she made them is actually making a 3D space in a Blender or whatnot, what have you, a program that you can make 3D artwork, and then like actually used the viewpoint like a camera to like take pictures. So like every object in there is actually 3D modeled in a space. And that's kind of how we got some like, like spinning GIFs and stuff like that of all the assets in there and stuff like that. But I just thought that was really cool and slightly also true to the true to the theme of it, being kind of relating to video games and whatnot. Because to kind of bring it back to the point, a lot of people use video games as escapism. I mean, that's that's not hidden like that. That's pretty obvious at this point that like a lot of people are using that, and it's kind of our way to escape the horrors and the shitty stuff that's happening in the world right now. We can kind of just like, well, video games are pretty cool. Let's get absorbed into that for a little bit.
Yeah, this horrifying video game is cozier than the real life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And ain't that a bitch?
Yeah.
For anyone who cares, Resident Evil 3 is the one that most inspired the cover art and the themes. That's the one that I played and beat, I want to say like 15 times in January and February alone. I think I got my run down to 3.5 hours.
Damn.
Pretty good.
I unlocked every costume.
Nice. See, I was a big Resident Evil 4 and still am. So
that's
nice.
That is,
and I played that one nonstop. So yeah.
And neither of those, I think both of those ones haven't been remade yet, right? Like,
they both have.
They both have.
it.
Yeah. We just don't play we don't play the remakes. We play
the RE4 remake is good.
Yeah.
The RE3 remake is not as good.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Because they're on like 7 or 8.
I don't know.
Don't quote me. Yeah, we're not paying attention.
I like the old ones.
Yeah.
On the classic old system, if you can swing it too, is the best way to play it.
Mm-hmm.
My PS2 does not want to turn on, but every now and again I can coax it back from the dead.
Yep. I got my GameCube hooked up upstairs right now, so we got like a little CRT on the table, and yep, that's how
we're likely playing Melee right after this.
Hell yeah. Well, then, did you talked about kind of how the album was almost like kind of formatted like you're playing one of those games. Did you write that with that in mind too, or did that kind of come later?
Specifically like the 2 songs with like Save Room and Boss Fight kind of were.
Yeah, so what it is you go through, you start the album in the save room, and then you go out and you go through like the scary songs, and then you go through like the boss room, which is a song on the album, and then you kind of like there's like the cool breakdown in that song, and then you die, and then you respawn in the save room, which is that track.
Reprise. There's a reprise.
Yep. And then you do one more song. Yeah,
so it was kind of intentionally. I guess they used to call that kind of thing a concept album.
Yeah.
The idea was there from the get-go. We didn't like sit down and go like, let's write songs about video games, but we had one, and then like, we're like, oh, that'd be cool if we wrote a boss fight song, and then it kind of came together. Originally it was just going to be a shorter EP too, but then we kind of found at the end it was slightly long enough, and all that stuff is wishy-washy, especially nowadays when like extended play and long, that doesn't mean anything, but so yeah, we kind of at the end we're like, this is kind of enough tracks, and it's so cohesive that like let's call it an album, might as well.
We thought it was our best work so far, so we figured it might as well be our like debut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the cassette has 10 songs. We added a cover of the Zelda song, and
if you buy the physical, you get some bonus tracks that are not available digitally or streaming.
Yeah, and you also get a lyric book zine that was made with a real typewriter to fit with the theme of Resident Evil and horror games, because you always save on typewriters in those games.
I wanted to ask about kind of, Save Room and Save Room Reprise. And there's that one line that you kind of come back to, which is, in the dark, someone might depend on your light. And kind of coming back to that, what does that line mean to you as the person who wrote it, Claire? Kind of how does it, fit into kind of this greater push that you're really hoping Save Room came from,
Well,
my mom really likes that line, by the way. Shout out to my mom. But yeah, that is a really good line. So go ahead.
Thanks, Ben's mom. Well, I really wanted to write like a title track that just like had a positive message overall. And the thing I kept thinking of is like, yo, this is like crazy that we're all still here. We can't like stop. being still here.
Mhm.
You know, I have to keep going. I have to not let this despair bring me down.
Yeah, it's really easy to get caught up in the spiral of like negativity and like just all you got to do is read the news. But like it's really easy to get caught up in that spiral. But you got to keep in mind that you don't only have to stay positive for yourself, but like other people might be needing that too. They might need your strength. They might need I kind of think that's what that line means is like, hey, easy to be depressed, mad, angry, all that stuff, but like you kind of got to keep it up because there's other people that you maybe even people you don't know that are relying on you to be strong and stuff like that.
Yeah, it, not only is it a very personal line coming right from like my soul, I also wanted it to bring that feeling out in people who listen to it that they can be light as well, and light the dark for others.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah. Have you, as playing it out, have you noticed you kind of getting that back then too from the people who've been listening, or?
Yes. Performing these songs live we've gotten like incredible reception from like the trans community and people who have gone through serious grief in the last few years.
Yeah, the reception's been really, really good, especially with it being like a little bit of a change from our previous sound. Not that it's incredibly different or anything like that, but we really have gotten good reception with these songs specifically. And really recently, in the lineup change we've had, swapping guitarists and stuff like that, we haven't gone back as much. We've pulled a few songs from the older catalog, but really this whole summer, we've pretty much just been playing Save Room. Which has been really cool, and the reception has been really good to it. People like getting down to the heavier ones, which is so much fun. That's the energy I feed off most of, like playing bass and stuff like that. If I'm not moving, how can I expect them to be moving? So I'm moving the whole time, and I'm really trying to get people to go with these with these ones.
Yeah, you got amazing stage presence, and my knees don't like it very much, but I have enjoyed jumping off the stage into the mosh pit a little bit with the guitar and everything.
With all of you kind of talk about the wide variety of kind of influences and the sound that kind of Critterthing has, and even on this record, I am not crazy familiar with y'all's work before listening to it, so hearing a little bit of everything on there, did you feel like you're pulling from everything that the band had been before this, putting into this record, or was there some different influence that was kind of coming in as well?
I definitely think we were building off of it. We definitely didn't abandon the old sound, and I think we'll kind of go back a little bit to that sound too. We're not abandoning the whole. I mean, and even like some of the songs are a little bit, because before we were a little bit poppier. This is a little bit heavier. It's a heavier subject matter for one, but it's a little bit heavier. I think we'll go back to that too. But yeah, where was I getting? Yeah. This sound was influenced like by a bunch of stuff, not just by like the people in our local scene and stuff like that, but just like we all have like really varied influences. Like you talked about before, our drummer, his other band is like a heavy metal band. They're like more hardcore and stuff like that. Claire plays in another project that's punk influenced. I have like a jazz background. It feels
and Misha has a folk punk background.
Yeah, Misha's got a folk punk background, so I think we pulled from a lot of different areas, which is common these days. Like you have so many sources you can listen from. You're not tied to like what's played on the radio, what they're playing in your hometown, what's popular in your area and stuff like that. So we really try and utilize that and pull from as many different genres and aesthetics as we can, because I think that makes it overall more powerful. When you have a little sprinkle of everything in there.
And then I did want to ask, because the record finishes with "Song of Healing" from Majora's Mask. Why that song of kind of all of it? Even if I think of like all of the video game soundtracks, what about "Song of Healing" that made you want to include that as your closer?
Well, we kind of just like
we picked up that one in particular for a show we were playing.
Yeah, we played it for one show, and they were like, "Wait, this is like cool. We should record this." I think like I think it was the heaviness and like craziness of the End of Joy when we did that one live.
Yeah.
And then like I kind of wanted something to like come after that and like cool the burn a little bit.
Bring Ninja back. Yeah, and it was kind of literal. We played it as a song of healing.
Yeah,
there was
exactly.
a venue that we really, really care, and the people that run it, we really care about them, and they were going through a rough time. So we felt some healing was needed, and yeah, it helped. I think, I hope, and it really helped with the flow of that album a little bit too.
Yeah. Shout out Dog Park.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, that was kind of purposefully chosen quite literally as a song of healing.
So I see it less as a closer track and more as Joy is the closer track, but Song of Healing is the bonus, nice little warm, cozy feeling afterwards.
Yeah.
Especially how you almost like fall asleep at the end of it, how we have like the main guitar go through the high pass and the rest of the song go through the low pass filter.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's kind of just a breath after Joy, a little bit hard emotionally and stuff like that too. There's a lot of feelings on that one. So we just kind of needed somewhere to breathe after that.
Yeah. Well, then let's get into like recording the record. You all handle it yourselves and
DIY for life. Do everything yourself. Nobody can do something for you that you can't do better yourself. I promise.
Ben is very excited to talk about recording.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun recording this thing.
I have a space in my house. You're seeing it right now a little bit. That I've always been really a big fan of recording myself too. I've been acquiring gear since I've known what gear is. So yeah, I got a pretty much a studio set up in my basement. I'll call it a basement studio, but it's not that fancy because I think it's a little bit more. It's a basement, so we record everything here, do all the overdubs myself. I think it gives when I record people here, it gives them like a more comfortable atmosphere. I mean, this is a common thing. This is where the music industry's been going for like the last 15, 20 years as the price of music gear has come down. You don't need to spend $10,000 to get a microphone that can be on a hit record, all that stuff has been coming down and is more approachable. And I think I've just always really embraced it of like, yeah, they can do crazy. I don't have $1 million signal chain for my lead vocals or anything like that, but you can make good sounds at home. You just got to work at it a little bit. You got to think about it. So yeah, we recorded. The fun part, we did this one a little bit differently than our last one, is we recorded all the basic tracks together, all live. So we just played them not to a click. We just counted in 1, 2, 3, 4 and played them. Obviously there's some studio magic after that where we replaced all of the tracks essentially, but yeah, that's where I think a lot of the feeling of this one comes from. Not that there's anything wrong with a click track, but I think sometimes you got to rely on your human metronome. Our human metronome's name is Grady, and he stays on time so well anyways, you can't tell. So but yeah, so
true.
I think you get a little bit of the feeling of that performance versus previously to this, and how a lot of people record, and we still will here going on, is you start with a click track, and like we talked about before, the rhythm guitar and vocal, you do a scratch track of just C singing and playing the guitar, and then you track drums to that, and then you track bass to that, and you track guitar to that, and that's valid, but I think you lose some of that instantaneous connection you have when you play live together, where like, oh, I saw you tweak that a little bit, I'm going to tweak that with you too. I'm going to hit my bass string right with your kick drum. I'm going to hit my upstroke on the guitar right with a snare, all that stuff. Really leads into like this little human characteristic stuff, which, as the whole world is moving towards AI this, AI that, what, AI can't record a live record yet,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think some of that just adds a human element to it that you can't really get otherwise. That I really like, especially for something like this where we had all the songs complete already. Essentially,
yeah.
We've been playing them, so it wasn't a jump to just like, let's record the EP, play the EP. So yeah, this one.
I am a big fan of the like. in a room live if you can do it, just because there's much like you said, AI can't do that, and it won't be able to replace. I like to call it the cosmic nod, where everyone kind of locks in, is on the same plane. You can hear what a guitar is doing quick, and you can do your own little variant on it to make it hit harder. And it's cool, and it adds to the vibe, and I think it really translates to how much like it feels like a cohesive band listening through the record.
Yeah, you feed off of energy, and it's the same thing with a live show. It's the same thing when you're just playing all together. I'm feeding off of the energy they're bringing, and so if somebody brings it up, I might bring it up a little bit more, and then people hear that and bring it up even more, and all of a sudden, like, you have this dynamic to it. That really works. Same with when you're playing a live show, how like the band feeds off of the energy that the crowd gives them, that people give them. If they're enjoying it, you might bring it up a little bit more. It's that kind of thing where it's subtle, but like when you start with just the nothing track, yeah, you might get it and you might play it right, but you miss those like little changes that you might find otherwise. So it's all about, as Bob Russ said, those like happy little accidents are kind of where it's at. If you're not having happy accidents, I don't think you're really making progress. You're not trying weird enough stuff then,
There's a lot of happy accidents that made it into the album. If you notice them even.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're in
there. And Ben, as someone who started off as a person who's just going to produce the band, how has that shaped, how you record Critterthing?
Sure. I've intentionally had to, because I really kind of come from wanting to add like synths and other stuff there, not to overproduce or anything like that, but on this specific record I held back and kind of was like, no, let's stick with the elements we have, especially with just having like a lineup change right before this too. I didn't want there to be like a million different things. It's just easier to be like, oh, I can hear this record and I hear each person and what they're playing, kind of. So I have to, one, I think it's way more fun to record and produce a band that you're in, because I can take way more risks and do weirder shit. When you're producing for like somebody else, you're always thinking like, oh, can I do this? Will they think that's cool though? Like, is this what they're going for? I want to do what they're going for. Versus in this, where I can be like, what do I want to do? Like, what can I get out of this? Should I add some weird stuff? Yeah, definitely I should. So that's really nice. It kind of opens up my freedom a lot more from the producer hat, to be able to add weird stuff. Now, I won't say I'm like the producer of the album, though. I really do want to say that like we do it as a team. It's not just me doing anything. So we all work together on it and stuff like that. And
it's mostly him. It's mostly he's too humble.
No, everybody comes up with ideas, and I'm like really feeding off of other people. If people are like, oh man, I wish we could do this, and I was like, oh, we can though. Check this out. Click, beep, beep, and then like make that happen or whatnot. So yeah, I try and on this one, I tried to keep it not respectful isn't the right word, but to like respect the lineup that we have and not like add too much extra and stuff on that. I think going forward, I'll stray away from that more. So I think we'll add like more other weird instruments and stuff like that, just to fill out the piece and whatever the song calls for. As a player, it's also really nice to be able to wear the producer hat too. I've been in projects where other people were like reliant on like, yeah, we're going to take these songs and we're going to take them to this person and they'll make them magic. And I think there's something lost there. Not that that's not valid, and there's a lot of people that can do that magic, but I think sometimes you got to find it in yourself and find it from within. It's like a lot more powerful, and you'll be a lot more proud of it, if it comes out of you and you're not looking at a third party, another source to find it. So, yeah. I really enjoy recording all the music that I make.
Yeah. Well, and Claire, how is it, is that creative partnership, not only with Ben as like a bandmate, but also a producer? And how does that work for you as someone who, at least at this point, was kind of one of the primary songwriters for this record?
So it's really nice working with Ben. He is a master of the DAW, whereas I am the complete opposite. I hardly even know what to like click and what to double click. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like I couldn't like create a new track on a DAW. I would have to watch a YouTube tutorial how to do it. What I like doing is writing songs on my Tascam 4-track and like composing music together. But like when it comes to like, hey, let's make this song sound like it goes into another room at the end of it, I just tell that to Ben, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. I'll high pass this, I'll low pass this, and I'll fade it in, and he just does these tricks that are just like so cool to me. I don't know. He knows everything about it. It's lovely that he loves to take my silly little songs and make them sound really cool on the computer. You know.
Yeah. I just so you know, I'm still Googling stuff all the time. I'm like, what's the keyboard shortcut to this? Yeah, okay, all the time.
Yeah, like for years, I was always like, how do we get more distortion on the drums? And eventually, like we kept like actually just putting distortion and compression, and eventually we found like clipping, like regular ass clipping.
You weren't looking for the sound of distortion. You were looking for a hard clipped signal.
I was looking for some like the cymbal side chain to the kick, or I was looking for more specific things. I don't know. I feel like our communication with like producing and mixing is just only improved over time. Like this thing was, we did a lot of shows this summer. We wrote the album in like 1 month. We recorded it in the next month, and then we spent a lot of time meeting in short little bursts to mix it and produce it, which took like 4 months because this summer we played so many shows and benefits and all that, and we even went to Chicago at some point. Yeah, but that's how don't make your albums in the winter and not in the middle of your busiest like gigging summer is what I'll say.
Yeah, you do kind of need. It's a team effort too. You do kind of need, because I can't come up with all the ideas. I sometimes know how to do things, but don't know where to implement them. So I do need someone throwing random ideas, like, hey, can you make it sound more? And I don't always want the exact word to be like, hey, can you lower 2K at 0.5 decibels? Like, okay, that's fun and all, but I like it.
Over
like,
my head.
Hey, can you make it smoother? And it's like, yeah, I can. And then I got like the tools how to do that, but it's still a team effort because I needed somebody saying that. Otherwise, I might not have known it was too harsh and whatnot. So yeah, it's really a team effort, collaborative between all of us.
Nice. Okay. And then kind of we're wrapping up here in my last few questions. Thinking, long term about Critterthing, what's y'all's goal for the band and kind of what's the hopes, bigger picture?
World domination.
Hell yeah. Okay.
All right, that's the big goal. No, but we got more singles coming pretty soon here, and after that we'll probably have another bigger album, hopefully out in 2026. But yeah, we just want to keep playing shows, growing our scene. That's really, really big to us. There's a lot of other bands in our scene, sister bands even, that we play with a lot or share a rehearsal space with and stuff like that, that we just want to see kind of blossom into something greater. We'd like to play a little bit out of town if we can, but every time you go out of town, you come back and you're like, yeah, the Twin Cities is where it's at anyways.
And I have COVID now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's some of my longer term goals. I don't know. Do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, you pretty much summed it up. I just want to continue to do benefits shows and raise money for people who need it when they need it.
Yep.
And I want to foster this type of community of people where we can just like make things happen in short bursts, like very like quickly,
Yeah.
When problems arise, I want to be there raising money to help those problems.
Almost all of our shows were benefit shows this summer. I know there was only like a couple that weren't.
We did a couple of can where we walked away with like 200.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we need to make a little bit of money too. But the big one that we've done is Twin Cities Transmutual Aid is a really, really good charity that we really support and want to keep doing benefit shows for as often as we can. I know you've put together a number of those shows for that. We've played on bills. You've put together bills. And it's just really important. The people that work in that charity are also close to us too. So it's just really we found a good space that's very grassroots support. They directly help people. There's no no middle managers swooping any of the money. It's when you donate money there, it goes directly to help trans people where they need it and when they need it most.
Yeah, our next couple shows, the next show is a benefit for a couple folks from Gaza. The show after that is a Twin Cities Trans Mutual Aid benefit. The show after that is a benefit for the family of Sam Nordquist. Yeah, and it's probably going to continue to be benefit shows. What? At least if I'm booking shows, they're going to be benefit shows.
Yeah, hell yeah.
If I'm asked to do something dope like 7th Street, I'll do it. But
yeah, I guess we'll do other shows too. But
I guess
if there's a benefit.
Well, that kind of covered my next question. So, kind of wrapping up here, we always like to ask bands kind of their local shout outs. Usually it's other bands that they really love, either they're local or regional, or if they're other projects.
Yeah, we got some shout outs.
I was like, is kind of time to let it make sure we're aware of who we need to be listening to.
In the scene with that are really supportive and helpful locally would be like Doll Chaser, Kiri Nova and the Defiant. Big shout out to them. They got a really cool lead singer and guitar player. I don't know. What are some other shout outs?
Shout out Heliocene, Jenny Matrix, Damphibian,
Admiral Fox. They're really, really cool. Admiral Fox.
Cheap Bouquet is cool.
Cheap Bouquet, Arclue, that sometime at some point.
One day.
One day.
Y'all don't know Arclue yet, but you will.
You will. Yeah. There's so many more too. I know we haven't mentioned them too, but all the bands we
Snake
share.
World.
Yeah, definitely Snake World, Cheating Kick Flips, all that stuff. Oracle M just put out a new some new music that's pretty awesome. Check that out. A whole album. It sounds awesome. That's really cool. Anybody that we've played with or been around, is awesome. Rigby. Yeah.
If you let me sit here, I'm gonna continue to play.
Mary Jam.
Yeah, I gotta cut me off.
Basketball divorce court.
We could be here all night just naming people.
Yeah,
that's really the awesome thing about
one of 3 or 4 sister bands with Critterthing, Kiri Nova, and Doll Chaser.
Yeah,
and there's some other ones in there too, but those are very, very close bands.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. The new record is called Save Room. The debut record, I should say, is called Save Room. Ben, Claire, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Yeah.
Thanks for having us, Joe.
Really appreciate you letting us yap.
Yeah, thank you.
You have been listening to the Ear Coffee Podcast. If you like what you heard, please rate, review, and share so we can stand out against the sea of other music podcasts. You can find information and other important links in the show notes of this episode. If you would like to support us, please consider subscribing on Patreon for early access to live sessions and other bonus content. You can also subscribe to our Substack for a regular newsletter with reviews, ramblings, and anything else we have to say. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.